Every time I'm out and about interacting with new people, I like to ask them the same question. What do you think about AI? I keep it open-ended for a reason. Firstly, because I don't want to lead them, but secondly, because I actually want to hear what they have to say. So a few weeks ago, I was getting my hair cut, and I asked the apprentice, Phoebe, who was washing my hair, what she thought about AI. And she's told me straight out that she didn't like it. She said she hated the slop in her social media feed. She hated that it was taking people's jobs and that creative people couldn't be appropriately rewarded for their effort. She felt that AI was making it harder for her and her generation to get a break. So Phoebe delivered a brilliant critique of what, on paper, is the most transformative technology the world has seen for decades. But young people are genuinely worried that AI is going to take their jobs, it's going to steal the electricity and water, and just make rich companies even richer. So my working hypothesis is that Gen Z hates AI. Just recently, out of the blue, a subscriber alerted me to some research from the Walton family, which backs up my hypothesis. The Walton Family Foundation is a philanthropic organization founded by the descendants of Sam and Helen Walton. They were the husband and wife team who started Walmart, and they turned a single store in Arkansas into the world's largest retailer, and it's one of the great American family success stories. Their foundation is intent on improving society. They're not an AI lobby group, and there's no commercial motive behind what they're doing. But the research they support tells us that Gen Z is turning on AI, and that's a signal that we should be taking very seriously. They recently published a study of 1,500 Gen Z respondents about the attitudes towards AI. The headline number is that 31% of Gen Z now feel outright anger towards AI, and that's up from 22% the year before. Outright anger means they're actively resisting the technology. And unfortunately, in extreme cases, that's even spilling over into violence, which is really something we must avoid at all costs. Excitement about AI has dropped 14 points, so it's not even cool anymore. Hopefulness has dropped 9 points, and they feel this is just going to make society worse. Adoption growth has slowed to a crawl, just 4 percentage points in 12 months. So they're not even finding it useful anymore. Nearly half of Gen Z workers now believe that the risks of AI in the workforce outweigh the benefits. And that's an 11-point jump in a single year. So let's just pause on that for a second. This is the generation that will one day take over the world, and they're really pissed off about what our generation is doing to them. And that should be cause for alarm. But nobody seems to give a shit, and nobody is even talking about this stuff. But it's even worse than that, because not only are we not talking about it, we're not even asking them what they think. And that's because when we do, less than 20% want to be interacting with AI. So it turns out that the most digitally native generation in history is asking to talk to a person. They want to talk to a human. So why is the corporate world so keen on making all customer experiences AI native? I'll include a link to the study below. It's a fascinating read. So apparently it's not enough that the tech industry has rewired their brains through social media to become hooked on dopamine. Now we're going to take their jobs, piss them off, and just make their lives miserable as well. It's seriously disgraceful the way that Silicon Valley has gaslighted the next generation with AI. So the mood I'm picking up here is that it feels a lot like the Occupy Wall Street movement, which occurred after the global financial crisis. Back then, the grievance was that wealth and power were being concentrated in the hands of a few, and that ordinary people were being asked to absorb the consequences of the subprime mortgage crisis. But today, it's not the Wall Street bankers, it's the CEOs of the tech companies who are causing all the damage. So to drive AI adoption, there's been this constant drumbeat of fear and uncertainty. And many don't know if the career choices they've made, particularly if they've incurred student debt, will even exist tomorrow. And it feels as though the social contract has just been ripped up once again. But meanwhile, the billion-dollar valuations keep climbing, there's more and more data centers, and the workforce just keeps getting more and more nervous. So in the next few years, I feel the pushback you're going to get is from the young people starting or at the early stage of their careers. I think they want the same kind of experiences and opportunities that I had. And to be honest, that's not an unreasonable expectation. In my case, I joined the workforce in 1993, and I was fortunate enough to be picked up on a graduate program. I was looked after. I was given training and development opportunities. I was flown around the world to work on great projects, and I benefited enormously from an organization and from mentors who genuinely wanted to foster young talent. And of course, in return, I worked my ass off. I worked really hard doing a lot of crappy jobs, which we would now call the low value work, which AI should automate. And that's really quite problematic because on one hand, big tech is telling everybody individually that they can save companies money. But if everybody does that, there will be no entry-level jobs. And it's not good for society if we allow big tech to target the jobs that deprive young people of opportunity. Entry-level jobs are more than just tasks or a cost. They are the training ground for good business leaders. These low-level jobs are the way that young people learn critical business skills. They learn how to meet deadlines, how to negotiate, how to lead teams, how to communicate difficult messages. These are the soft skills that take decades to master. So where I land is that I feel Gen Z hates AI because they've watched the slop, they've heard the fear-mongering, doom and gloom, and increasingly feel that the cards are stacked against them again. And if we're honest, that's not the future that any of us would like to see. I think we need to do better, and we should need to start building the future that Gen Z wants. It doesn't mean we can't build AI solutions and automate processes, but let's not forget that it's not always about saving money. It's also about building capability and skills. I'm Dr. Errol Brandt, the founder of Kiraa. If you enjoy my content, please like and subscribe. And as always, I really do appreciate hearing your comments and perspectives, even if you don't agree with me. Thanks again, and I'll see you in the next one.